y'all? It's Friday. Oh, what's going on? It's Friday. What are we talking about? We got a lot of shit to talk about today. But I gotta get some gas first. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let the diva know you stopped by. You understand? Understand? I don't know what's going on with these eyes. The angle. It's not symmetrical. But anyway, so what's going on with everybody? Everybody had a good week. It's a lot of shit that went on this week. We're going to talk about Jay-Z and Roc Nation and this donation that he made to this foundation. We're going to talk about Lizzo and Azealia Banks, Malik Yoba, and Nicki Minaj, Lil Nas X. I kind of don't want to talk about Lil Nas X yet, and that's about it. I don't know if I'm gonna go on Lil Nas yet. Little Nas X and the Kevin Hart, that situation, because I haven't found a link, a full link, and typically I have a link to the shop, and I don't know where this link is. Maybe I have to watch it this weekend, and I'll get back to you guys on Monday in regards to that, because I need to see full context. I need to see everything. I need to see how the conversation started, and I need to see when the clip was over how that conversation ended. So I got to see all of that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we do want to give a shout out to Lizzo for being #1 on Billboard's Hot 100. She is among the ranks of other female rappers, Lauryn Hill, I think it was Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, probably Beyonce. I'm trying to think who else. Let me see. I hate when people don't pull up. Pull up to the furthest thing away from you. So I'm gonna get some gas and we'll be right back. All right. So let's talk about it. So Jay-Z, Roc Nation, NFL, and Inspire Change. So we know all the details, right? I'm just gonna tear this out. Let me go around here because I don't like to deal with people and their temperaments when it comes to allowing other people in traffic. I just don't want to deal with it right now. So let's see. All right, so we're gonna be in the sun, and I don't have my sunglasses. First things first. So Roc Nation, NFL, and here's just some facts about this, and then I'll give my opinion. They gave $40,000 to 2 organizations, Inspire Change and Inspire Change. We already know what the deal. You guys already know the details. It's been a whole week. You know what the details. I don't have to really re-explain what is happening, but I'm just going to give you a few facts so we know. We know what the fuck is going on. Oh, let me roll the window up. Meek Mill, Rhapsody, Vic Mensa, and Meghan Trainor are supposed to. Did they perform last night? Something, with the football or whatever. The Better Boys Foundation and the Crushers Club, hand selected by Roc Nation. They gave $40,000 between, so I guess $400,000, I guess $200,000 each for each foundation. So upon research of this foundation, there is this Twitter page, resisting. It's called, what is it called? I forgot what it's called. But they do they're very much in support of Colin Kaepernick and very much in support of getting all of the details and the facts together. And they found this woman, and I don't remember her name, but this woman that heads this Crushers Club, and they're a foundation in Chicago who are helping little black boys, decide to, helping them live a better life. It's supposed to be for youth, at-risk youth, and this and that. So pictures are coming out from this woman's page all lives matter. There's images of her cutting the locks of black boys with really construction paper scissors. So there's no care, there's no it's nothing. And I'm like, here I am, and everybody keeps saying to give Jay-Z a chance, to give him a chance, and this and that. And my thing is, I said that, you know, once you get into a certain tax bracket, you're not the things that you cared about, you're not caring about getting into those spaces before. I feel like Jay-Z is doing a lot of talking out of both sides of his mouth. Someone who is for prison reform, but also investing in ankle monitoring devices, is playing both sides. I'm going to help you, and I'm also going to profit from you. I'm going to help you, and I'm going to profit from the things that you don't like about your community or what's happening in your community. I'm going to get on that side. You know, I said the other day that I felt like, you know, a lot of people want to give Jay-Z a chance because of his past and the things that he does. But like I said, at the same time, it's like someone talking out of both sides of their mouth. I'm going to help you, but I'm also going to profit off of your how you are oppressed. I'm going to profit off of these things. And that is exactly what Jay-Z's doing. Should you expect anything less from somebody who is, now it's not, and I always say when black folks get into a certain tax bracket, they start practicing classism. So that would be like, if I always say, if we were to be in a segregated society, a separate but equal society, black folks who are in a certain tax bracket would practice classism against black folks who aren't in those tax brackets. And that's just how humans are, and living in this society, that's how it happens. You know, the other day I said I was disappointed, but I'm like, I can't be disappointed when I didn't expect different. You understand? And that's just how I feel about it. I think it's whack. It's just whack. But you expect people to do that. You expect that to happen, because why are there no cars in the train station area? And that's how I feel about it. This woman, she looks, if I'll put a picture up, but she's cutting off she looks very happy. She looks very happy that she is cutting off these boys' locks. They have this kind of program called Cops and Cupcakes. I don't know if they're feeding these kids sugar and then also telling them that they could be cops because cops make $70,000 a year. Just these ridiculous things that this white woman is doing with this foundation. And she came out and said that they don't do that anymore or whatever. But the idea that your hair, okay, and Jay-Z, look at his hair, okay? The idea that their hair has something to do with whether or not they will be successful in life is very anti-black. Period. If you believe that your hair determines where you go in life, you are feeding into this idea that something is wrong with you. Your natural hair, grown out, locked up. Something is wrong with that. You are sending that message. Somebody said it was a black conversion program. Like, we're going to convert you from being black boys. And then this idea that, we're going to incentivize you to get along with cops by giving you sugar cupcakes. It's just all wrong. It's just all wrong. And when you see that picture of that woman cutting that boy's hair with really looks like kindergarten construction paper scissors, like literally, and she looks like so proud that she is cutting off this boy's hair. 2 boys. He's upset. He's freaking out, but he's going to something about him having to change or some shit. This is the organization for all the people who just wanted to see what Jay-Z was going to do. This is his first action in what he was going to do, hand selected by Roc Nation. So he himself. So I wonder if he's going to allow this white woman. And the image for me, the image of a white woman cutting off a black man's hair, it made me sick. That made me sick in itself. Jay-Z is going to do what Jay-Z is going to do. You can either be mad or you can be indifferent or you can be in support. And that's just what it is. And there's going to be, everybody is going to be like, I don't give a fuck. Some people are going to be like, let's see what he's going to do. Let's see what he's going to do. And there's some people going to be like, fuck what he's doing. That's wrong. And a lot of people are speaking out, like people that you would consider, celebrity or entertainer or in the spot, like Ava DuVernay spoke out against it. And one thing I do want to say is that we need to stop calling locks dreadlocks, because there's nothing dreadful about locks. It is your natural hair growing out of your hair locked up, period. So we should try to move away from that. That's all I have to say about that. So shout out to Lizzo. Truth Hurts went number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Azealia Banks had something to say. Azealia Banks went online and she has a Instagram page where she shares her opinion about things going on in the world, like we all do. Okay? And I think that, well, anyways, I'll give you my opinion. She said that America loves to keep the fat girl joke going, that she believes that Lizzo, first of all, she says the song wasn't good. She's a dumpy fat girl, but she's legitimately talented, and she's being allowed to shine as the big-eyed, what did she say? The big-eyed mammy, millennial mammy. That made me laugh because that was actually kind of funny, but I was like, okay. Queen Latifah repped without being a minstrel. So was Missy. Somebody got into it. Nobody's gonna let anybody go. And we're gonna get caught in this fucking traffic. Yeah, this motorhome got into an accident with, I don't know what he's trying to do. Oh, it looks like he probably stalled. I don't know what's going on with his motorhome. I don't know. Let me turn my blinker off. She said, Queen Latifah repped without being a minstrel, so was Missy. First you put up a illiterate Cardi B, and then fat Lizzo. So when she had the critique about somebody y'all didn't like, it was okay. When she had the critique about somebody you want to push up, then everybody has a problem with it. She says they, and when you're talking about she's talking about mainstream media, are putting up the worst of black women to advertise America with. Beyonce was getting too political, so the Beyonce level accolades, which these women are nowhere near, they're now getting the accolades because Beyonce, with all her excellence and all her talent, is getting too political. So we can't booster this woman up anymore. Let's boost her up, this Afro-Latino girl, or whatever, you guys could correct me or whatever, or are we going to pull up this fat girl? And she has a problem with it. Now everybody's coming out because Azealia Banks, Gemini, let's first say, she has opinions about everything like we all do. Do I think that her critique of Lizzo is on point? A little bit. I think that a lot of Lizzo's support is performative. And I think a lot of the things that we are supporting that are, when I say we, I'm talking about our community. I think a lot of the things that we support is performative. Why do I think that? Because I think we're in a space where now that we can see that we are supporting each other, we are lifting each other up, and we are encouraging each other in the face of white media, right? I do not agree with this comparison. Like, she has an issue with how black women are being represented because she's using white people as a lens. She's using them as, how does America see us? How does white America view the black community? And that's where she falls short for me. The millennial big-eyed mammy type America loves, is that true? Yes, because they are non-threatening. Because Cat Williams said the same thing about Jared Carmichael, Lil Rel. He said that they were Hannibal. He said that they were men who were not attractive, dark-skinned men who are not attractive, and so they are safe. They know that nobody's gonna want to, try and get with them. They're safe. And they're saying the same thing. She's saying the same thing about Cardi B and Lizzo. You have this woman who, and I don't think that Cardi B is illiterate. I don't believe that. But that's her opinion about the girl. And I feel like if you could go to a video that I made about her comments about Cardi B. She had a lot of good points. I think where we get messed up is that we want everybody, we're not a monolith, but we want everybody to have the same opinion about, Lizzo. And when somebody has a differing opinion and uses very harsh, insensitive words from their opinion, we have to reject it. We reject the whole thing instead of listening to her. Because the millennial mammy thing, when I was like, she might have a point, because Lizzo, and y'all know I love Lizzo. I think she is beautiful. I think when I see her on stage, although I'm not that size, but I've never been, as a girl growing up, I never was comfortable with my body. Never, ever. I don't care if I weighed 132 pounds. I was not comfortable, never comfortable in my body. Wore big clothes, all of that, even though that was part of the style, but it helped because I wasn't comfortable with my body during those times. And when I see Lizzo on stage, I'm like, yes, this is good, because little girls need to see themselves. Now, the way from Azealia Banks' perspective, a lot of people's like, oh, she's just bitter, she's just jealous. Azealia Banks stays on tour. She has a very dedicated fan base. Now, are we saying that she's bitter because she's not on the Billboard Hot 100? Because then you are taking on her logic of, you're only popular if you are accepted by this mainstream media, and mainstream, I would just say, means white. You're acceptable to white people. White people have approved of you, so now that you're on this Hot 100 list. So because Azealia Banks hasn't been approved of and in essence given to the masses, we see her as being bitter for having her opinion. Do I think she should have used different words? Sure. But she's a Gemini. What do you want her to say? I mean, she's going to critique everybody. When she critiqued T.I. for bolstering up Iggy Azalea, she was on point with every single thing. And she believes that when you are given an award, it should be for artistic excellence. Now, is Cardi B an example of artistic excellence? No, she's not. Is she someone who's putting out music that is fun and very surface, and you're not looking for any political messages or messaging in her music? You're not looking for that. This is someone fun music, right? Lizzo, she has a lot of good messaging about self-love, about self-empowerment, about not dealing with, men who are not treating you right. She has a lot of good messaging. And she's a big girl. She plays an instrument. I believe that Lizzo is very, very talented. This is Azealia Banks' opinion about her. the worst of black women to advertise to America. I don't agree with that framing. Like, you don't like the way these women are being presented to white America, essentially. That's what you're saying. So I don't agree with that. But the millennial mammy thing, she kind of has a point. Is Lizzo safe? Absolutely. Is she safe? Absolutely. Lizzo is going to make music speaking to women about self-love, self-empower. Are you going to get a political statement out of Lizzo? Maybe later, as she figures out her way. Lil Nas X is another one that she had a critique of. Is he safe? Is he safe? He wasn't allowed to be in his song was doing just fine without Billy Ray Cyrus. It was. But when Billy Ray Cyrus was put on his song, you see what happened. He was number one for a long time and breaking all these records. And is he safe? Maybe not. Young black gay male? Maybe not. And I'm glad that he came out. I'm so glad that he came out. I do want to talk about that interview with Kevin Hart, but I have not seen the whole episode, so I don't want to give an opinion at this time. Period. Okay. Malik Yoba. Okay. Oh. Malik Yoba came out one day in the past within the last week, with an expression of and an admission of his attraction and his love for trans women. And apparently he's currently in a relationship with a trans woman and has been in a relationship with a trans woman. He came out to say that he was trans attracted, which is a word that I don't know where he got it from, but it sparked a lot of rejection, using that term, because some people said it felt like he was fetishizing trans folk and trans women specifically. And I think that when we talk about like word usage and the proper words, all of our words are made up, right? So you can say this is a made up term, but a lot of language we just in the last, I'll say 10 years have received so that we can explain ourselves and how trans folk feel and how members of the LGBT community feel and how people non-gender conforming and all of those words, so people can have a language to essentially label themselves, which, that's another conversation for another day. But so they can have a language to understand how they feel. So he came up with this word, trans attracted, and he said something about having a trans experience. So this is a black, cisgendered, heterosexual man who, in our community, we know that cisgendered, heterosexual men like to keep the company of, some like to keep the company of trans women, but they do not like to outwardly express it because of the homophobia that runs rampant within the black community. Black men have this box with this jewel in it, and the jewel is masculinity, right? Because historically and generationally, that was the only thing that they had that they could hold on to. And they've been taught that since slavery. So it's just a cycle that continues to say, guard your masculinity with all of your life. That in turn means to reject anything feminine, right? So having sex with men, having sex with trans women, being bisexual, when there's any tinge of a straight man having any tinge of femininity or attracted to another man, any of that is rejected. It gets violent. And because of this, men who enter relationship with trans women, they often end up killing the woman because of this self-hatred and this inability to come out and actually show expressions of love for this woman. And they just react very violently. So a lot of people contribute to men being DL, down low, or whatever, being secretive about their sexual preferences or, what they're attracted to. And I think that Malik Yoba saying this is a step forward. And I think more black men who love trans women should come out and say it, right? To be comfortable. But you see when that happens, you see what happened with Reese and Faith in that situation and what happened to Reese. And we know that Reese was abusing Faith. And it's the way that, who described it? He was abusing her because he hated himself and society is teaching you to hate these women. Our community is teaching you to hate trans women. So much so that just a few days, over the weekend, a 17-year-old trans girl was murdered, shot in her chest. 17 years old. 17 years old. A child. Her name is Bailey. These children and women cannot even live, their real selves because of the violence that we have. Homophobia and transphobia is real. And we cannot say that it's not real. We cannot say you don't agree with people living like this. You can't say you don't agree. Nobody cares if you agree or not. No one cares. You don't even have a position to have an opinion on how somebody lives their life. You just don't. And especially who they have sex with, especially who they love, all of that. You don't even have a space to say, well, I don't agree with it. So what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So later on, it comes out that Malik Yoba was saying this just because he has a case coming against him against a young woman who he had inappropriate relationships with when she was how old? 16 years old. A trans woman she was 16 years old and said that Malik Yoba used to have sex with her. So it's like you're like, oh my God, this is a great message. His message, I'm okay with it. Him inappropriately abusing little trans girls, we not with that shit at all. But guess why he was doing shit in secret? Because there's no room for these men to have a safe space. So they do things in secret. They do things and abuse young people, young trans, when they get kicked out of their homes or whatever, and they're on the street, you taking advantage of these young kids who are on the streets, young trans kids who are on the street. And they take advantage of these kids. And then because they don't want anyone to know that they are attracted to and love and have sex with and whatever they are doing, they end up killing these girls and killing these women. And that has to stop, because when somebody, they're tricking, ain't nobody tricking nobody. Nobody has time to put their lives in danger to trick anyone. That's a myth. And it does happen, but it does not happen where all of these cisgender heterosexual men are killing these trans women because they were tricked. That's not true. That it doesn't happen like that. These women's lives are in danger every single day for simply existing, just for simply minding their own business. You feel you gotta eliminate them because you're attracted to them. And a lot of straight people contribute to this bullshit. A lot of gay folks contribute to this bullshit, and a lot of trans folks contribute to this bullshit. Because some trans folks like to say, "Oh, I'm busting somebody out," because they know people do this stuff in secret. So some people like to, out people, and it's dangerous all the way around. You outing somebody, your ass can get killed. You got to be mindful of that. You should not do that. But we should not be creating spaces where people have to hide from who they are. So I don't like the fact that he was messing with little trans girls when they were little, and that's the reason why he came out with this message. The message, I believe, still stands, but him, you know, doing it's like it's hard to support people. Like, you kind of gotta like sit back for a few days and say, okay, let me, because I know he's coming out with this statement. Somebody's gonna come out with something to, you know, counter that, and that's what it is. Let's see, young girl, her name is Bailey Reeves. Bailey Reeves in Baltimore. Somebody shot her in her torso. She's the 17th trans person killed in 2019. That has to stop. That is so disgusting. You are eliminating somebody because you're attracted to them, but you don't want anybody else to know that you're having sex with a trans woman. That has to stop. That shit has to stop. He made a post about, Malik Yoba made a post about, you know, the young girl coming out. Her name is Miriam. Is it Miriam Lopez Ebony? Is that her name? Yeah, that's her name. And she made a Facebook post saying that that's the reason why he's coming out, is because, you know, he's getting ready to get in trouble. He's getting ready to have a case brought against him for having sex with underage trans girls. It's like you can't support anybody. It's just the message, you know, because typically, like, the message, okay, you can support the message but not the person, you know what I mean? And I think we need to get to a place where black men are more comfortable saying, because they are having sex with trans women. We know it, we see it, we know it, but we can't ridicule people for just simply loving somebody. And when the idea that every time you think about LGBTQ, you deduce it immediately to the sexual act, it just ruins the whole message. It's not all about sex. These are people, that's how you express your love, through sexual acts for some people, and they just so happen to be trans. So I don't, you know, it's unfortunate that what he did, but there's a lot of different variables that come into that, and why people do stuff secretly and end up killing these girls. It's awful. It's just an awful thing. So let's switch it up a little bit. Nicki Minaj says that she's retiring. So she's gonna work on her family. She said, I know y'all are happy, but she said she's gonna talk about it on Queen Radio with her supporters and her fans. And she's just saying it's time. Nicki Minaj is in December, probably, I think she's gonna be either 37 or 38. I mean, and people keep saying that she is pregnant, so I don't know how true that is. Time will tell, and we will see in 9 months. But that's what's going on. Should she retire? She probably won't retire, but Nicki Minaj has this thing about her feeling underappreciated. She doesn't feel like she gets the respect that she deserves. And I've always said that respect begets respect. And with all of these girls coming out now, she's no longer the only one. She was the only one for a long time. And now you're competing with girls who are younger, whose knees are still intact, and who can actually bounce that ass, and who actually have talent. So the whole package of what Nicki Minaj was representing, you know, the sexy vixen type rapper with great lyrical skills, in her opinion, she sees that other people have this better skill set. Megan Thee Stallion is very skillful, and very talented, very beautiful. Rico Nasty, all of these girls are very beautiful, and I think she's just like, you know, I'm tired. You know, I don't have to compete. I'm not going to compete. I've done what I've done. I have my number ones. I don't think she has a Grammy, but she has her number ones and everything. So, you know, she's going to do what she's going to do, and you know, we wish her well. Hopefully everything works out. Hopefully she doesn't. Hopefully everything works out with this guy. He looks a little boring, a little stale, and maybe that's what she needs, because her and Safari were almost alike in like their personality and wanting to be seen. Meek Mill, I didn't understand that relationship. I didn't know what that was about. I have no idea how that worked. But you know, what do you guys think about her retiring? I I said Lil Nas X and Kevin Hart. We're going to talk about that later. And that's it. I did want to talk, I guess I'll talk about it later, about activism versus journalism, and how Dave Chappelle's Rotten Tomatoes score was 0 when it was critiqued by 5 progressive critics, and they gave it a 0. Then when they opened the voting to the public, it got a 99%. So I think that it's dangerous to not allow room or space for conversations with people who have a different vantage point, a different perspective, a different experience than you. If we keep saying that we're not monoliths and then immediately jumping against someone because they have a differing opinion than you and trying to silence them, we are never going to progress. If that is how you want to operate, where everybody at the same time, see, the messages don't make sense. From the outside, you want people to understand that black folks are not a monolith, but from the inside, we want everybody to have the same ideas and the same perspective about things. Otherwise, you're automatically in support of them, or you automatically are, your voice is silenced. All of that. We need to, I think, just get away from that and concentrate on allowing people to have a different opinion than your own, and then allowing that person to speak about it and allow that to happen. I think that's very important. And that's just what it is. So we can talk about that. I wanted to talk, because, when you are a journalist and you're reporting on things that are going on, you're supposed to have an unbiased, view or perspective of it. And I think we're getting where journalism they're turning into activists, and their opinions are very biased, and I don't think that that's safe, and I don't think that that's going to help anybody grow. I just don't, because if we're not a monolith, we actually have to be able to sit down with people who don't agree with us. We have to listen to people who don't agree with us. And we can't attack people like, there's people who don't agree with me in the comments, and then start attacking me, like how I look and it's unnecessary because I feel like when you start attacking a person, what they call ad hominem, when you start attacking a person on their personally, instead of what they're talking about, I feel like your argument and your position lacks substance. So because it lacks substance, you now have to attack me personally. You now have to talk about my appearance instead of the topic that I'm talking about, and saying, I don't agree with this topic, and here's why I don't agree. Because I love to debate. We could debate all day. But when people start talking about somebody's appearances and things like that to support their argument, you lose with me. You've lost the argument. You've lost the debate. But we have to get to a place where we are talking to people who have different opinions, because it's true, we are not a monolith, and everybody is not going to agree. And we cannot just say, well, you're black and I'm going to agree with you, or you're a woman and I'm automatically going to agree with you. That's dangerous, because we know that not everybody has the same viewpoints, and we need to be able to listen to other people and not shut them out or try to silence them because they don't think like us, right? All right. We can have an opinion about it all day long. Talk about it, discuss it, break it down, come with facts, come with stats, and it can be all good and have a real good, like a for real conversation. We all give our opinions every single day. Azealia Banks giving her opinion about Lizzo, what's wrong with that? That's her perspective. That's how she sees it. Do I agree with everything she said? No. Do I agree with some of the things she said? Yes, I do. Now, do I think she's bitter? She might be angry. She might be upset, because from her perspective, and let me tell you something about Azealia Banks. When I say that girl is so talented, I mean, so talented. I mean, I don't even have to go into all of the things that you can look her up and you can listen to her. You can listen to her lyrics. You can hear how she raps. You can hear how she sings. You can hear how she illustrates, how her storytelling, you can hear it. She's very talented. And from her perspective, those people are not considered, what they're contributing is not excellent from her point of view. And that's fine. And she has a right and a space to do that. And we have a right and a space to say we think that she's coming from this place. Everybody can say what they want to say, but we got to get to a point where we're actually having conversations, constructive, productive conversations about these topics. And then at the end of the day, what it all means in the grand scheme of things. You understand? So that's all I have to say, y'all. That is my time. Y'all have a wonderful day. Protect your energy. Take care of each other. Listen to each other too. And kind of we kind of have to step back a little bit before we give our opinion on things. That's why I was like, I kind of wanted to wait. I said, I'm going to wait till the end of the week to give my opinion on this Malik Yoba thing. And, I wanted to watch, I was trying to find a link yesterday to watch Kevin Hart and Lil Nas X and Charlemagne on things. I did hear a lot of people saying something about Charlemagne saying something about colorism. And I thought it was odd because a lot of us made fun of Charlemagne getting healthy, and as a byproduct of him getting healthy, his complexion changed, and that happens. It literally happens, but then saying that he was bleaching his skin. So that's a proponent and an aspect of colorism. And for people to say that he was coloring his skin, lightening his skin, and then critiquing him on his opinions about colorism, they don't go together. So I'm out of here, y'all. Take care of each other, protect your energy, and listen to each other. Peace.